So, have you ever wondered if time is the same everywhere? Like, is a second here the same as a second on the other side of the universe? It's a huge question, right? Well, today we're going to look at a really fascinating answer from a very old source, an ancient Buddhist text called the Sutra on the Merits of the Buddha Lands.
And this is it. This is the source text we're diving into. It was translated way back in the 7th century by a pretty legendary monk named Xuanzang. Now, the scene it sets is amazing. You've got the Buddha teaching this huge, massive crowd of beings. And in the middle of this teaching, a conversation starts that, well, it totally shatters our everyday ideas about time and space.
Okay, so the story gets rolling with a question that is just cosmically huge. Picture this. In this enormous crowd listening to the Buddha, this one figure steps forward. He's a bodhisattva. That's a being well on their way to enlightenment, and his name is Inconceivable Light King. Awesome name, right? And he asks a question that basically gets the whole ball rolling.
Essentially, he asks the Buddha, hey, are all these different realities equal? Are all the worlds out there the same? Do they have the same good stuff? Do people live for the same amount of time? And here's the big one. Does time itself flow differently from one place, one Buddha land, to another? I mean, that's a deep question about how reality even works.
And the Buddhist answer, it is absolutely mind-blowing. He doesn't just give a simple yes or no. Instead, he starts with this comparison between our world and another one that's just, it completely recalibrates your sense of what big even means. Okay, before we go any further, there's one key term you gotta know: kalpa. So what's a kalpa? It's basically a unit of time in Buddhist cosmology, but it's not like a minute or an hour. It's an immensely long period of time. Just think of it as an aeon, like the entire lifespan of a universe, from its creation to its end. It's a really, really long time.
All right, so you've got kalpa in your head? Good, because here is the very first comparison the Buddha drops on them. He says that one entire kalpa, remember, that's an aeon, in our world, right here, is the same as just one day and one night in a place called the land of ultimate bliss. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. An entire cosmic age for us is just a Tuesday for them. Wild. But here's the kicker. As absolutely mind-bending as that sounds, the Buddha is basically like, oh, we're just getting warmed up. This is literally just the first rung on a cosmic ladder that goes up to scales that are, well, they're truly epic. All right, let's get into the thick of it. Because what comes next is this incredible cascade of different realities, this chain of worlds where the sense of time in each one just completely dwarfs the one that came before.
And what's really cool is the pattern that emerges. The Buddha explains that a whole kalpa in that first amazing place, the land of ultimate bliss, is just one day in the next world over, the Kasaya banner world. And then guess what? A kalpa in that world is just one day in the world after that. You see the pattern? It just keeps stacking up, compounding on itself, growing exponentially.
And we're not just talking about 3 or 4 worlds here. The text just keeps going, listing world after world after world, and with each step, the timescale expands to a point where our brains, they just can't really hold on to it anymore.
In fact, it gets so big that the text basically gives up on using normal numbers. It just says, the chain of worlds goes on for 10 inexpressible atom dust count worlds. That's some beautiful, ancient, poetic language for a number so ridiculously huge, it's like trying to count every single atom in every galaxy in countless universes. For all intents and purposes, we're talking about infinity. So, naturally, this brings up the biggest question of all. Why? Why are there these absolutely staggering differences? Well, the sutra gives a really clear and I think fascinating answer. It seems there's a kind of cosmic currency at work.
The text lays it out pretty plainly. It says all these differences exist because the merit of those beings progressively increases. Now, merit is basically the universe's way of keeping score on positive actions and good karma. So what this is saying is that the very nature of a world, how beautiful it is, how time flows, is a direct reflection of the spiritual goodness of the people who live there.
And, this is a crucial point, it means merit isn't just some vague abstract idea. Nope. It has real, tangible, physical effects. The more collective merit a world has, the longer its inhabitants live, the more amazing their world is, and yes, the more time itself seems to stretch out and expand for them.
And then, the sutra does something really interesting. It kind of brings this huge cosmic lesson all the way back down to us, the listener. It makes the point that just hearing this teaching, trying to understand it, and maybe even sharing it, Well, that act in itself creates its own profound merit. And the benefits it promises for engaging with this knowledge are pretty incredible. We're talking about things like, at the time of your death, countless Buddhas showing up to comfort you. You get to choose which of these amazing Pure Lands you want to be reborn in. You'll remember your past lives. And maybe most importantly, it helps you speed up your own journey to enlightenment. So in this view, knowledge isn't just information, it's a transformative power.
Which, leaves us with one last pretty provocative thought to chew on. This ancient text is drawing a direct line between the collective merit, the collective inner state of a world's inhabitants, and the physical reality they experience, right down to how time itself behaves. So, if we take that idea, even just as a thought experiment, what does that say about the world we live in right now?